Very good evening and namaskar. On the occasion of very auspicious day today, that is vaccination drive, the mass vaccination drive, and hoping for the best across the country and across the globe. On this positive note, let us begin our session today. We, being in India and according to our constitution, education is a fundamental right of every human being. And on top of that, if it is a women empowerment and education, it's a very popular subject and topic of discussion. A lot of work is done on it, but few more areas still not focused on, and some more work is required. Having said so, today I have a wonderful person with me. She's not only a wonderful human being, but her contribution to this education field is enormous. Let us welcome Dr. Rupa Vasudevan. She is not only educated, but she has started an institute for education for both boys and girls. And the institute name is Bharati Engineering, Science and Technology Innovation University in AP. And she is a co-founder of World Forum for Education. She's a co-founder of Evergreen Natural, all natural agri-business venture, and she's also a vice chancellor of Art University in Bangalore. So, with all this and her views on education, plus the new education policy and women education, all this I'm going to interact with her, and let us listen to the experts' views and the person who has been in this field for some time now and has done a wonderful contribution. So, formally welcome to your session, Rupa ma'am.
Namaskar. Thank you so much, Ketiji, for such a beautiful introduction. And it's my proud honor and privilege that you thought I'm one of the achievers to begin with, and that I can be interviewed. I never believed so, but I should congratulate you first that you have started such a wonderful initiative called Diva. And I think it's very important for we women to have a dialogue, achiever, non-achiever, however, because this reflects, on our values, our potential, and it brings out the power of women. It's simply, about celebrating womanhood more than anything.
Yes.
And I think we women have made the history books. We women have made headlines.
Yes.
And I think it's about celebrating the women who also battled so many other things in life and want their families to lead a better life, and it's, I think, a great showcase that you're doing, Ketiji, of all the incredible work that women are doing in the world. It's a great motivation. Today morning, I could catch up a few interviews that you have already recorded, and I think it's just a great showcase of incredible work. I think all the women are doing in the world, and who have shined in places across the world despite their challenges and obstacles. So many congratulations to you, and thank you very much. It's an honor to be in this in Doyens Media's Diva episode today.
Pleasure is all mine, and thanks for that encouragement and such a beautiful words. You rightly said it. The idea is to celebrate womanhood and also introduce one woman to other and inspire others to, fight their battle more heroic or more heroine way and come up in life and also bring others forward. So that's the idea. Thank you so much. So first question was Rupaji. Let us know a little bit about your childhood.
My childhood. Okay, I belong to this Tamil Iyer family from Palakkad, and born and brought up in Mumbai. I was born in Chatanagar, Chembur. I don't know if you know about Mumbai, but these are the hubs where you will find a lot of tambrams.
Yes.
And to be very honest with you, very orthodox and very, very normal family where parents were working, a nuclear family, but we as Tambrams, it's a very general trait. You speak to any Tamil Iyer family, they would say we love Carnatic music. We've grown up learning Carnatic music and Bharatanatyam, whether you pursue that or not, but every single Women
Yes.
will tell you this. And even if people who don't technically understand what is Carnatic music or classical dance will definitely tend to appreciate it to the point that they can and try to understand and relate to it as much as possible. Grown in a very conservative environment where there were epics narrated by my grandparents, my shlokas at home, going to the temples early morning for Deeparadhana at 4:30, seeing the god getting decked up early morning, all the aradhanas that happen during that time, and the houses that usually put loud, the Vishnu Sahasranama, and talking philosophy, science, culture, heritage, music is like keeping up and upkeep of the tradition of the community and the family. So we take great pride in speaking about it.
Absolutely.
And of course, in apostrophe, no compromise in studies. In math, you have to be good.
Yes.
And so yes, that's how I have grown up, and listening to a lot of these wonderful stories that there was a seamless connect, KTG, a seamless connect that I had with the community around me.
Yeah.
And in a very, very meaningful way, I would say, a very meaningful way. And over the years, it has saddened me very bad over the years, seeing that, all this beautiful life that we shared maybe in the 70s is diminishing.
Yes.
A lot has changed. My neighbors used to come around, sit at our house, chat. We used to all go to the temples, look at the beautiful classical dance and music and bhagavadams. But none of these I see with my neighbors here. I mean, I probably don't even know who are my neighbors anymore. Because the narratives have changed.
Yes.
The way the education is delivered has changed.
Yes.
And it's almost conquered by wrong history, indifference, cultural disconnect, and of course a huge lot of content on social media which has to be seriously filtered. Yeah.
True.
So yes, so I belong to that beautiful era of the 70s where 70s and 80s where we were all still a seamless local community, in a cultural perspective. So yeah, it was a beautiful childhood.
I'm sure.
And yeah, and yes,
And I can very well relate to it because somewhere I too have a similar childhood. I think our generation had the similar childhood wherein the values, the culture, the religion was and education, everything would go hand in hand, and everything had importance. So I completely
yeah,
understand.
actually lived in it was a community living.
Yes.
And education was only a tool to understand and to. But now the children are so busy. I don't know how. This project, that project. You have to do this by tomorrow. Sway presentations and that. We didn't have that kind of stress, I would say. But yeah, things are changing for good, and I believe we will shine out dazzlingly very soon. With the policies that are
So
there.
how did the PhD happen, Rupaji?
The As I said, I belong to a tradition of people who have to get educated to a certain level. It just happened, whether or not I was interested. I was mostly interested in everything that was outside the study area. I always believed, I always looked up to people who were idols in some way, who were ideals. Now, I always tell this to my students also, KKG, that um, everybody has an idea. How does he become or she become what she becomes? It's because all others sleepwalk by what's happening around them, but they don't, and they happen to see what others don't see. And why do they do that? Is because they care, and because they are curious, and because they empathize. So unless you have these three qualities, I don't think you will see what's happening around you. And unless you see what's happening around you, and unless you're aware, I think you will never want to learn more, or you will never want to be something and be proud of.
Yeah.
So I think, as I said, PhD was in social media. And those days, social media was actually nothing.
Okay.
It was not as profound as it is now. It was just Orkut that was there, and so I had a complete analysis done on how social media is going to change the marketing landscape.
Yes.
And that's, yeah, so we
It's
see
huge
it
now.
happen. We're seeing it happen right now.
Yes.
And yes, and as I said, education was some part. I always grew up with a lot listening about Swami Vivekananda's teachings, and I always believe that, and in what he said, that it's a lifelong process of learning,
Yeah.
development. It's not only about formal education. It's about human personalities, self-discovery, self-perfection, self-awareness. This is what he said,
Yeah.
and self-manifestation. For their overall emancipation is what he always spoke of. And I think it's a tool that opens up such a beautiful world in front of us, education. So
Definitely.
I always knew that I have to be in that sector, in
Mm.
education. And whether I am learned to do that or not, I would like to enlighten people about the importance of it. So I always wanted to enter into the education sector. I just didn't know how, whether as a teacher or as somebody who would be a counselor, or as a career career counselor. I just wanted to do something in education.
But now that you are uh, doing a so-called dreamy discussion, but the reality is you're founder and promoter and chancellor of an university that is Engineering, Science and Technology Innovation University. So that's incredible, and I'm sure you have put in a lot of efforts and energy into it. And let's talk a little bit about that.
It hasn't been an easy journey, but I would be selfish to say that I didn't have a team to back me up and mentors to provide me the right kind of knowledge, right kind of direction whenever I needed it. So also very, very spiritually grounded. So I'm an ardent follower of Swami of Kanchipuram and Shankaracharya. And, Swamiji also gave me a lot of direction. But somebody who stands out there, because I was in the education profession, started small, and tried to build a lot of these little institutions over the way. And I always felt that India must start, owning innovation.
Mm.
We underestimate ourselves. There is an urgent need for all of us to develop a workable model where we say, here it is, whether it is students or faculties or anybody who's an educationist or a knowledge provider. We need to say that this is what we have in our country. It's a huge pool of knowledge systems, and there is innovation in every village, in every person, in everybody. So I always dreamt of starting something that would provide that kind of an ecosystem, and provide a platform for that kind of an innovation showcase. And I fortunately, along the way, about 15 years, 10 years back, met Sri Bharatlal Meenaji, and he was the IS officer here in Karnataka. And we ended up chatting about Indic studies and how our traditional knowledge systems can be brought out in the open, and why we need an university which will focus primarily on skills, entrepreneurship, and a showcase of individual knowledge givers. So that's how we started, and it was tough because I've instituted, and I have instituted a lot of other educational setups, but
Yeah.
this was particularly a little tougher because it's outside the domain of my area, which is Karnataka and Maharashtra. It was in Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
But to be very frank with you, KG, Andhra Pradesh is extremely progressive in its private university laws.
Yes.
And we received our first LOI in the month of in 2018, and then there was no looking back. And achieved around the entire university's philosophy with collaboration, innovation, and conservation. And these are the three areas and pillars of BESTIU, Bharati Engineering, Science and Technology Innovation University.
Sure.
We wish to create a world-class social conglomerate where learning should be accessible, affordable, where innovators are groomed, and where ideas are incubated. This was our passion, and thankfully, me and my co-founder Shri Bharatlal Neeraj, we could make that happen. We wanted this university to be a model university, which shall be the pride of the country.
Yeah.
And that's something that we could do. Grace of God.
Absolutely. As you rightly said, if the intention is correct, and if the time is correct, and you're going wholeheartedly into any kind of positive change to the society, everything works in your way. And that's exactly has happened with you. And congratulations for that. Uh,
Thank you so much.
I have read a list of your awards and I took a breath before going into the next one. So there are a number of awards like International Gold Star Award, Mahila Ratna Award for Women Achiever Contribution, Rashtriya Vidya Saraswati Puraskar, Higher Education Leadership Award for Digital Learning, and Vanita Ratna Award also. So all this and the on-ground work. Uh, I'm sure we always like felicitation and awards, but a lot of efforts goes into that, and a lot of hard work goes into that. So, any experience wherein you thought, Rupaji, that it's not worth it, or am I taking too much of risk? Something like that.
It's tough being uh, it's tough being a woman. You will agree to that.
Definitely.
And it is really tough being in education, which is primarily dominated. You will find a lot of women up to the level of principal.
Mm.
But even if you see the statistics today, there are only 13 women vice chancellors, and about you can all count them in your fingers. So the
Yes.
higher positions generally are male
Okay.
dominated. It's
Yes.
probably also because of, I would blame women not trying too hard to do
Yes.
what they would
Yes.
like to do. So it's a tough thing, and then there are these verticals that were there. When I was working in Karnataka, it was extremely difficult because there's state private university, there is private university, there's deemed university, there is central university. All these operate as silos. They do not come together and think of themselves enablers enablers of knowledge, enablers of skill sets. So at one point it becomes, because of these differences that exist, it becomes extremely difficult to bring ideas and thoughts together to create that. As I said, it has to be a knowledge ecosystem, and that has to thrive. We have serious issues in terms of not having teachers for our rural areas, which come under the state and central universities.
True.
But there are huge pool of good professors in private universities.
Yes.
These have to come together, and there has to be a seamless integration between all of these to ensure that there is that knowledge is given for the sake of uh, you know sake of knowledge. It's not just imparting skill, just imparting the course curricula as we do now. So I think
Empowerment.
that is thing, yeah,
Powerful tool
and
of empowerment.
it was very difficult to bring people together. And there was an initiative called Jnana Sangama,
Mhm.
where the then principal secretary, again, Bharatlalji, he told two state universities have to come together with one private university and one deemed university, work with the village and try to create something novel there with the children there, and to enable them digital infrastructure so that they could also see and experience what happens in the classrooms of the private institutions. That was a great initiative, but it really took a toll on me at that point. But yes, creating digital infrastructure is inevitable. creating a culture of transdisciplinary studies is inevitable, because today you see commerce is commerce, science is science, arts is arts.
Yes.
Somebody who learns English will in no way will be allowed to come and sit for a class of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
You're art student, how can you come here?
Yes.
You know, a student who does his engineering will never want to sit in a history class. But we all need to understand that over the years, over the ages, our tradition has been in the Guru Shiksha Parampara. You know, it was always a very open system. You know, it was always multidisciplinary. It was always education institutions were an enabling space. You know, I was in one of the conferences with Mohandas Paiji. He was saying that, you know, a Dwarpal of Takshashila University would decide whether students should go inside or not. It was that open.
True.
He would ask 3 questions outside the gate. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, go. You are given admission. You know, this interactive coexistence of scholars from diverse specializations, you know, that facilitates convergence of disciplines.
I'm sure.
And until we have that barrier of you are this, I am this can never integrate.
True.
All thanks to Macaulay in the British time, who decided that, you know, subjects like philosophy, metaphysics were unnecessary. And that introduction of English and science and mathematics is what all Indians will learn.
Sure.
And from that day to, I think now, NEP 2020, we've been following the Macaulayism.
Same.
We've never been able to move forward.
Yes. So as of now, you exist only in Andhra Pradesh. Am I right?
Yeah, in Andhra Pradesh, we have a private university which is offering 15 disciplines in science. We have agriculture, we have horticulture, we have forestry, we have engineering programs, and as I said, it's an enabling space, and which is very open and which is very open for innovation and making concepts. I know of this little girl in my campus who's doing her bachelor's, who is studying the effect of music in plants. Another girl who's now almost an entrepreneur in her 3rd year got out plastic bottles during the corona time from every single neighborhood that she was living in, created those plastic bottles into very beautiful home gardens where they grow methi, rye, coriander and stuff like that. And, you know, so such enablers we've been able to create, such innovators we've been able to create at our university. We also have a PU college, which is for 11th and 12th standard students. And yes, so this is pretty much it in Andhra Pradesh. It is nothing in Karnataka.
As of now, yeah. But I'm sure it will spread its wings very soon. We spoke about a very nice subject just now. Whether you emphasize that that the history student cannot like mathematics or vice versa. But now there is a saying, or there is a very famous statement. They say if you want to bring any big change in the country, start with education policy. And if you impact that, you can change, make a big change. Now that this year, I mean, rather last year, our government introduced a new education policy, and there was a lot of debate and discussion on this subject. Some in pro, some against. But let us talk about that more elaborately. So, same point what you mentioned is covered there, wherein it allows people to choose subject of their choice, and also gives you a free hand to do the vocational training and on-job training by studying, and you can become a entrepreneur, you can become an academician and vice versa. So something more about that is what I wanted to talk about. So let us talk about what is this policy all about, by the way.
KKG, the National Education Policy of 2019 is a very brave attempt by Dr. Shri Kasturi Ranganji and his team. And it completely overhauls our education system,
Okay.
transforming it into a very flexible, progressive, updated version.
Yes.
Okay. Now, over the years, as I said, we started with the Guru Shishya Parampara, then the Macaulay era came in, and then we went on a completely, a literacy drive, because
Yeah.
after independence that was crucial. And then there was this Kothari Commission by the Indira Gandhi time. Then there was a Rajiv Gandhi New Education Policy, and I think after that it has been this.
Yes.
But none of the previous policies looked at the education the way these committee members did. This
Mm-hmm.
team.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely aligned to the 21st century educational needs, but it all the same remains very strongly grounded and
Mm-hmm.
consistent of our traditions, of our value systems, of our country.
Yeah.
It provides a great platform for our institutions to try to experiment,
Yes.
so that there's a certain promotion of social efficiency, of culture, of
Mm-hmm.
use of Indic knowledge systems, of traditional knowledge systems, and
Yes.
they've made this integral to the core learning, right from school to
Mm-hmm.
higher education.
Yes.
Uniformity and standardization, KTG, was never ever the way
Education
our
system. Yeah.
no
Adapted. Yeah. Never. Yeah.
our Gurukula system was never. It was always any student learns everything.
Yes.
It was 15 years of experiential learning.
Yes.
Having one university, having a system. See, that was made primarily to ensure that the Britishers get the number of accountants that they wanted.
Yes.
To just completely bottle up, finish off the creativity in our people, the innovation in our people. And that's
Just
what derailed it, derailed our structures
yeah. Just
completely.
promote the number system.
Yes, yes. So it was with zero flexibility that we were operating, zero flexibility to our students that we were operating to. But now there is mainstreaming of Sanskrit, there are languages, there is knowing self, know your country, know your culture, know your heritage. There's so much more that the student can learn from the
Yes.
new education system that will come in.
Yes.
And trust me, this is extremely important because the world is moving away from standardization. One of the best institutions and educational methodologies come from countries that follow zero standardization,
Mm.
that follow this bird's eye view of one academic subject
Mm.
that can ruin countries, that can ruin the education system. So it is all about short term industry specific skill development, vocational development. I think this national education policy will elevate our present standard
Mm-hmm.
of the nation into a very vibrant knowledge society. And there's also an introduction of Ayurveda. There is yoga. There's a lot of stress on soft power of our country. It's an
Yes.
integral part of the course,
Yes.
and culture studies, curiosity. Now, so the three pillars that they say that it is based on the national education policy and that it stresses on is access, equity, and quality
Mm.
with affordability and accountability.
Okay.
And that's why they're making the leadership in every institution and university accountable
Mm.
to the institutions that they establish,
Yeah.
But all the same, huge flexibility given, and
Yes.
still is given too much stress, vocational development in schools.
Yes.
Our school children will learn farming. Why not? Agriculture. They
Yes.
will learn skill sets that are required to become an entrepreneur. Tomorrow,
Yes.
Atmanirbhar Bharat is all about
Mm. Mm.
self-reliant India, and we
Mm.
need children to think about entrepreneurship from the time they are in the school.
True.
I think it's a wonderful, great system which reintegrates dropouts also,
Yes.
and it provides universal access to education. So many children will be allowed to now, in their bachelor's degree of 4 years, drop out in the first year, get still a certificate. then join back maybe after 3 years in the second year, and then still get a diploma, and then join back in an institution for the third year and still get his bachelor's, and the fourth year bachelor's honors. So this is a very beautiful flexi system.
Model. Yeah.
And see, KKG, a certificate from a prestigious university is going to, be of a negligible value for future. The gig economy that we
Yes.
speak about is going to take over services and jobs very shortly.
Yes.
You don't need a master's degree. What you need is skills. What you
Yes.
need is the willingness to
Yes.
work for anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
That is what is needed. So
True.
I think the education policy rightly understands there are so many things they have done in higher education, school education. I think simplification of existing structure, in short.
I'm sure. And as I went through this policy, was doing my homework before talking to you, I found many good things, many positive things. And as you rightly said, this will give a lot of opportunities in employment, in gaining the required skills or liked one. For example, if somebody is more interested in particular uh, set, he will she will get that opportunity. There is one tricky side to it, and as a teacher, I want to ask you. They also have in a number in the recent part they introduced that self-assessment will be also done by the students about their own qualification. Do you think me as a student will be honest?
So there are going to be a lot of checks and balances in place, and these are just guidelines.
Yeah.
These have to be worked
Yeah.
on the basis of the location, on the basis of the dynamics
Yeah.
of our country. See, we are a very, very, very complex country.
Yes. Yeah.
So with 365 million children in
True.
schools and 8 million graduates passing out every year, we are by far the largest university systems in the world.
Absolutely.
So yes,
Absolutely.
national education policy cannot be at verbatim, but
Mm.
these are guidelines. Now,
Yeah.
as per the guidelines, each state and district officials in education have to come up with strategies that are aligned to that specific location,
Yes.
and that amount of flexibility is also given. And why not, let a student evaluate himself. Now see, KKG, for the past 10 months all our children have been giving examinations
Yes.
on
Yes. Yes. Yes.
they've all been evaluated online. There is no scope for cheating. In
Yes.
fact, our university conducted 2 semester examinations online with
Mm-hmm.
AI,
Mm-hmm.
and with a lot of these proctoring softwares that are available. The students don't want to cheat. Actually, they're just too sincere to do all of that, and it is in the hands of the teachers to ensure that
Yeah.
you provide such questions which will talk and relate to the concept of that particular topic,
Mm.
where you probably cannot refer to a particular paragraph and then bring it out. So I think
We are safe.
if it is there also, I think we will see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yes, I'm sure. That was on a lighter note. I'm sure there must be a proper
I
system
know
in
it's
place.
not a very valid question. I've also thought about it, but let's see how it all manifests into reality, and when it is
Yes,
implemented, will happen in the next 10 years. And I
yes.
hope we will reach to the 50% gross enrollment ratio that we aim.
Yeah, very true. Very essential. And that will bring a lot of wisdom to the society on all the grounds. Now, coming to the major section of the society, the 50% or technically 49% population of society, women. Um, Again, very few uh, are in the education sector, in politics, in innovator, or in science, technology research, or even in entrepreneurship. So one thing is maybe the society setup, but that is very limited now. Second thing is the family setup, and third thing is women themselves are not very keen on doing something other than what they have been uh, taught for ages, and education becomes just one certificate program for them, nothing beyond that. So what can be done on this? Because this is something especially I get really worried about that women need to become more uh, aware and more matured in education as well. That is holistic approach. I'm not talking only academics, but otherwise also.
Yeah. So, Ketkiji, I completely share your concern.
Mm.
Again, I have to tell you about, see, there are these Swami Vivekanandaji's sayings, which can, which are like capsules and which encapsulate such deep meanings. Whenever you read them through, you understand something, you get a new perspective from them. He always said that no man shall dictate to a woman.
Yeah. Let her decide.
Not women to men, yes. Women will work out their destiny better than any man can ever do that for them. And he also said, all mischief has come because men have tried to control
Yeah.
and they have tried to shape the destiny of women. And he always said the idea of perfect womanhood is perfect, independence. So it's the women, we women, who are the life and soul of our country, Ketkiji. And all learning, culture is centered around them because they are the homemakers, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, there are many barriers which are
Mm.
preventing young girls
Mm.
and women to pursue and complete their education.
Mm.
And education is the light
Yeah.
that can, bring them forward. But at this moment, it's education which is limiting their empowerment
Mm.
because of the reason of the cost of the school,
Mm.
accessibility, peer pressure, distance, transportation, or providing for families, or getting married early. Women are way behind in terms of educating themselves. But having said that, things are changing,
Yeah.
and education has now, because of the online learning, that's where it's important for that strata of society where we build this digital infrastructure.
Yes. Yes.
Very important to build huge digital infrastructures in our rural areas.
Yeah.
And this will enable women to
Mm.
go beyond their communities and the generic perceptions.
Mm.
Today in urban areas, women are becoming models,
Mm.
actors,
Mm.
CEOs, business women, journalists, lawyers, managers, everything. There is no profession left in the urban India which cannot be said that is a sole domain of a male. I
Mm.
don't know of any such
No.
profession.
No. No. No.
The 21st century woman is an emancipated, independent woman. And she's breaking the glass ceiling and finding her own place in the society. So I think the educated woman is no longer dependent on a man to
No.
provide her shelter or food. I think they are way ahead. They earn their own selves, they buy their own house, feed themselves, their families. I think,
Absolutely.
but bringing this equal access,
Mm.
right to education,
Mm.
and giving them this economic independence in the
Mm.
rural areas of India
Mm.
remains a challenge,
Mm.
and that's where I think education will play an important role,
Yeah.
and is crucial to bring
Yes.
together such women. I'm also associated. You just read out with the community leadership. Sorry, a community self-help group called
Yes.
Apna
Yes.
Foundation
Yes.
and World Forum for Education. Now, these are two initiatives whereby Apna Desh. It was incepted 25 years ago by my co-founder of Best Innovation University, Shri Bharat Lal Ji. This remains very popular in villages across India,
Mm-hmm.
where women, do their own thing, collect their own funds, ensure that there is a pool, and they do their own little entrepreneurship work, which also helps the environment, which also helps them with their livelihood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So such self-help groups are there in several villages, which we have seen and where I have witnessed that women have completely changed into very dynamic
Yeah.
entrepreneurs in their own small way,
Yes.
being
Yes.
in their own small space.
Yes.
Other than this, World Forum for Education is with a partnering institution called as World Women Leading Change, which
Mm.
has 3 million women across the globe. And these women from all walks of life, from all across the globe, are trying to push women
Yeah.
empowerment and women education in the ways that they can. So yes, I think India, especially the country, we are one of the countries which are so fortunate, where our goddesses are all women. We give
Yes.
such a respect to women, which I think no other country does. All over the world, I think we are the only country had leadership positions in nation building, and as national leaders, women have shown their prowess and their dynamism. So, yes, there are barriers, but I think we'll soon overcome those barriers for them.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We are
And we are seeing,
progressive.
we are seeing the, sorry?
We are the most progressive nation in the world, especially for.
Yes. 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 And I think sometime back we had a discussion that Western women are not as free as Indian women. Uh, Maybe they are presented that way, but they are not.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. They are.
Yes.
Tell me one woman president. Has America ever had a woman president?
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
But we've
Yes.
had several of our leadership roles in national,
Yes. Yes.
level. So many women. Even today, there's so many women in Narendra Modi ji's our
Yes, in politics.
PMs, yeah, ministry. So I think
Mm.
we've been a very, very progressive nation for women. If not India, there is no other place to go. It's the most progressive country.
True. Now that we are talking about this subject, um, I want to also maybe loudly think with you that through, you know what, when I read the name of university, Best IU, I interpreted it like best in you. And
Wow.
and under that tag, any plans to expand your horizon for the empowerment of women or more opportunities for girl children, especially from the not so rich areas? I'm not even saying rural. 20 kilometers away from Bangalore also needs your help. So, any plans on that?
KKG, we are actually in the border. We are based out of 123 acres of land in
Yes,
Gauni
yes,
Municipality,
yes.
and Vadiyampet, which are two locations where we are based out of now. And these are very backward in that sense.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
What we are doing is integrating people from across that area
Yeah,
and ensuring that we can build livelihoods there. We can try and make a sustainable change to the women there
hmm, hmm.
and the families there. That's the whole idea of the university as such. See, because
Okay.
I don't believe in the formal education system. We are
Yeah,
career knowledge givers. We work across countries, continents, organizations, institutions, and professionals,
yes,
and we need to
yes.
work across different demographics, socioeconomic, political systems, and cultures. And that's also another area that we are very, very deeply focusing on, the World Forum for Education.
Definitely, definitely.
We are doing a lot of work for global engagement, within the community engagement, and we would like to, showcase education as the knowledge that, drives creative, independent, scientific, and economic works of individuals, which inspire positive changes and make a meaningful change for the society and benefit society at large, and not look at education in the four walls of BA, BSc, MCom, MSc, the bird's eye view. So yeah, we are expanding access and inclusivity in learning, and we plan to have the world as our stage through our World
Definitely.
Forum for Education.
Wonderful. So, Rupaji, it was indeed a pleasure to interact with you in such an informal way. And I appreciate that all the initiatives and all the good things that you are doing in the field of education. And very few people get to work in their passionate field. You're fortunate one who got an opportunity to work in that. Same thing which you loved most.
The grace of God, yes.
Yes, definitely. So that's all from my side. Thanks for your time and wishing you all the best and all good luck for your future plans and especially for your university.
Thank you, KTG. Keep doing the massive yeoman work that you're doing. Inspire women like us. And thank you so much for having invited me over for your for this event. Thank you. Namaste.
धन्यवाद.